Productive introduction, be specific, still elusive, but exclusive. What I give you when I kick it, and I'm still lifted. Niggas can't get with Mr. Wicked. Picture me flipping my adversaries, getting the dick swift. Niggas are swinging.
Forward, up, faster, bigger, taller. I got things that's in front of me, but I won't know till I step in it.
What's up next for you?
So let's talk about what happens next. You know, based on what the book says, Zip gave you a Glock, gave you guys a Glock, and you guys tossed it in the backseat. And Bubble Up was the driver, and Baby Lane and Freaky were in the backseat.
We was just all in the car.
Okay. This was the white Cadillac.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, Tupac, Tupac.
No, we coming up, what's the name? Was that Flamingo? Yeah, I think that's Flamingo. We was coming up Flamingo and got to the light. We was gonna go drink, smoke some weed, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He was hanging out the window like he was in parade.
Tupac.
Yeah, he was.
So what happens next?
And we just came, and shit. I ain't gonna go into details like that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you got it in the book, you can play it everything else, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, in the book, you said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said that Tupac pulled out a gun.
It looked like he was reaching, yeah. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually see a gun?
Shit. Once you got the reaching, I got the gun.
So someone from your car started shooting at Tupac and Suge.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Chef Disaster 3.0 coming at you with the Unusual Suspect series. The long-awaited Bring Keefe D to Justice trial has begun. Keefe D has been arrested, y'all, and he's going to trial. The first interview you just heard was an interview where he sat down with DJ Vlad, another content creator on YouTube, and told his story and basically what happened that night in Vegas when Tupac and Suge Knight got shot on the Las Vegas Strip. You see, the thing that was unusual about the story he tells Vlad, about the story he tells anyone, the story is always changing. Now, this guy doesn't sound like the smartest apple in the bunch, and he's very contradictory. In this first story, he talks about who shot who and, how they got the guns and stuff like that. And DJ Vlad is asking kind of questions based off the book that he wrote. Yeah, this guy wrote a book, and a tell-all book, some sort of Compton legend. Go check it out if you want to and see what this guy has to say. It's a really good read. But he tells that story, and then you're going to hear in another story how he contradicts the story that he just told with Greg Keading. I'm going to let you all hear the other contradictions, and plus I'm going to let you hear something from Greg Keading and Orlando Anderson. So as we go through the unusual stories, unusual suspects, and we get to the bottom of what's going on, y'all just peep game, man. Trust nobody. Because this case is very, very unusual.
It was a few New Yorkers though. Man, y'all need some help. We got this.
That's what they said.
You guys aren't out in Vegas then with that intention. That's not why you're in
No,
Vegas.
we've been going to the fights since Pat days, the 80s.
So y'all geared up to go to Vegas. Y'all was going anyway. Not even knowing who else was going to be down there. Not knowing if Possum and shit was
We
going
ain't
to
got no pistol. We ain't got no pistol down there. And
Zip, who knows about Puffy's offer to Keefe, says this is a good time to take care of that thing.
Shit, it was right here. Perfect opportunity, baby.
That was Zip talking?
Yeah.
Because of what happened.
Yeah.
Zip offers Keefe D the .40 caliber Glock that he has stashed in his Mercedes out in the parking lot.
He told me in the lobby that he had some Jimmys.
So what?
Had a Jimmy. That Benz. He had a little secret compartment. Thing popped out.
Popped up.
Popped out. Yeah.
In the armrest?
Yeah.
Backing up Keefe's story, we had a cooperating witness who was present at the MGM that night after Orlando Anderson was beat down. He testifies to the fact that he sees Orlando Anderson bleeding from the head, and he sees the group get together to start to plan the retaliation. In fact, he heard one of the guys say, "Fuck that shit. What Tupac think this is? We gangbang out here." The witness also confirms that he overheard Zip say, "We have artillery out here," meaning guns. He tells Zip, "Hey, we're gonna go handle this shit or whatever."
Yeah, like, y'all want us to come? He's like, we know where the motherfuckers at. They was telling us they gonna be at the 662 club.
Who was saying?
Everybody.
Right up there.
Yeah, everybody.
You get out of the car with Zip after everything. What do you say to him? Like, man, we're gonna handle this? Like,
Yeah, we gonna go ahead. He's like, yeah, show the perfect time, you know?
okay, then you jump out of the car. And then what happens?
I got in the van with the busters. You know what I'm saying?
It's a Laney Cadillac with T Brown and Dre.
Yeah.
Y'all go with the van. There's 2 cars go to 662.
Yeah, the van and the Cadillac.
Keefe D, Orlando Anderson, and half a dozen of the other Crip gang members get into 2 vehicles and drive directly to the 662 club. Tupac Shakur is expected to be performing later that night. They park in the parking lot, anticipating Tupac's arrival, and simply lie in wait for him.
They didn't show up. We waited about 15, 20 minutes. They didn't show up. So they was like, let's go get some liquor. Yeah, Corey. They gonna kill him, dog. You know that motherfucker. You know, got the police killing motherfuckers and all that. Man, you crazy. Stopped at the liquor store. I got out the van with their asses up in the Cadillac. That was Usher, this kid.
According to Keefe D, some of the guys are getting nervous, so he jumps in the Cadillac with 3 other guys and decides to handle it on their own. The Cadillac is being driven by Terrence Brown. In the front passenger seat is Keefe D. Behind the driver is DeAndre Smith. And in the right rear passenger seat is Keefe's nephew, Orlando Anderson. In addition to Keefe D's statement, we had other evidence confirming that the 4 people he said were in the Cadillac were in fact in Vegas that weekend. Orlando Anderson, of course, was on tape at the MGM, and Keefe D, his uncle, admitted to being there. T. Brown, however, for his part, denied that he was in Vegas that weekend.
Don't tell me that you didn't go to Las Vegas. What you're going to tell me, Barry, is who you went there with and where you stayed. Go to Las Vegas.
However, he was arrested less than a month later with Las Vegas postcards in his possession, and DeAndre Smith confirmed that both he and Brown were in Vegas the night Tupac was shot. With Keefe D and his crew ready to do this, they set out to find Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur.
Then we came up Harmon at the Las Vegas Boulevard, and shit, here they coming at BMW like Junior Carter.
Keefe D claims that the girls who were riding alongside Tupac and Suge Knight are what drew their attention to the BMW. They're screaming out his name, Tupac, Tupac.
He's like, that's Suge. Like, and then he was like, come on, come go with me. Come go with us. We're going to 662.
Bro, Tupac. We was like, there you go. Made the U-turn. We wasn't supposed to make it. This was one of the U-turn. It was in the middle lane. We just go up on the side and check every car to see where they was.
So what directed your attention to him? Was some girl shouting at Tupac?
Tupac. He gave himself away. Otherwise, they would have got away.
Due to traffic conditions and the configuration of Suge and Tupac's caravan, the white Cadillac was forced to pull up on the right side of their BMW.
I thought he was going to pull on my side. You know, that's a little American woman that got one, you know. And he pulled on their side.
So you were fitting to blast if you had to, or you were just...
Yeah, if we would have been on my side, I would have blasted.
Okay. Keefe D, who's seated in the right front passenger seat of the white Cadillac and who has the gun,
realizes that he's not going to be in a position to shoot because he's going to have to shoot across the car and across the face of his driver. Keefe turns around to hand the gun to the back seat, attempting to give it to DeAndre Smith, who would be in the best position to shoot. DeAndre resists, puts his hand up and says, "Nah, no thanks, not me."
I gave it to Dre, and Dre was like, "No." And Lane was like, "You fuck you."
Orlando Anderson, who's in the right rear passenger, reaches forward and says, "Give me that motherfucker." Leans over DeAndre Smith out the back window of the Cadillac and begins shooting rapidly into the BMW.
So Orlando shot the car across Dre.
He leaned over and went to a little pop.
So Orlando would have had to lean over the top of Dre, right?
Yeah.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you? He looks right at you?
Yeah.
Are you looking right at him?
Fucking Lord, he tells us we were saying,
Backing up Keefe's claim that he and Knight knew each other was a witness who was in Las Vegas, part of the death row entourage, who was present during the shooting of Tupac Shakur, who said that Knight stated he knew who the shooters were and that they were Southside Crips.
I seen the bullet going Suge head. I thought he was dead.
So Tupac's trying to jump in the back seat. And what Suge doing? Just ducking?
Ducking. He couldn't really duck because he was too big, you know? Yeah.
Keefe has now identified his own...
Nah, boy, I know y'all can hear all the contradictions and lies in that story right there. By the way, that was a recorded interview with Keefe and Greg Keading, the other unusual suspect in this case. You see, he gave Keefe a profit deal and recorded it without Keefe knowing. He tells the story better than Keefe tells the story, and Keefe was allegedly there. It's just really unusual that this cop, who, you know, had some things to smear his name, you know, a couple of cases got thrown out because his, you know, bad police practices and stuff like that. But it's unusual that this guy tells the story better than Keefe. And then we have Keefe telling on his nephews and the other two guys allegedly in the car. He tells the whole ordeal, but it doesn't sound like the same story when he was on DJ Vlad giving his confession to DJ Vlad. He gave so many confessions. He gave a couple confessions to The Art of Dialogue, Greg Keading, Cam Capone. It just goes on and on and on. He was doing it just to get a buck, if you ask me. Just to get a bag. He see everybody else getting a bag, so he said, "Let me get a bag." But the story never really stays the same, and it's really unusual. I mean, to get out there and put yourself in a murder case willingly, multiple times. He's even told the the Las Vegas Police Department. He's testified to them as well. That's mainly what got him locked up, what got him indicted. But we have Orlando Anderson, and I would like y'all to hear what Orlando Anderson said while he was alive when he was interviewed and asked about his involvement in Tupac Shakur murder. Very unusual that none of these guys' stories match up. Orlando says he has nothing to do with it. Greg Keading tells a better story than the man that was actually there. And D. Brown and DeAndre Smith and Tony Brown never gets arrested for the murder of Tupac Shakur. But let's listen to what Orlando Anderson has to say.
Is it Orlando? Yes. Let me just ask you point blank. Did you kill Tupac Shakur?
I didn't kill Tupac. I don't know why, you know what I'm saying? They would even say something like that.
I just want to tell everyone that, I didn't do it. And I feel sorry for him, his fans and his family, friends.
From 1995 to date, have you ever ridden in a white Cadillac? No. Do you know anyone who owns a white Cadillac? No.
Yeah.
So there you heard it from Orlando Anderson himself. He was interviewed, he was asked the question, do you have anything to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur? And you heard that young man say he didn't have nothing to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur. He cared about Tupac's family, Tupac fans, and things like that. He sounds kind of convincing to me, but we got a whole, world of people who believe the Orlando Anderson story and the Greg Keading story and the confession from Keefe. I just think it's very unusual. It's very odd. I think there needs to be a better investigation to get to the bottom of the case, because as we can see, as we get deeper into the unusual suspects, you're going to find a lot of people who were suspects in the Tupac Shakur, murder investigation. And how did we get to this point to where Keefe is indicted and going to jail after all this time, over 20-something years? We're now seeking justice for the murder of Tupac Shakur. But I definitely want you to hear some other things that Keefe said. So I'm going to let you hear him tell why he's not guilty of being in part associated with the murder of the legendary rapper Tupac Shakur.
Man charged in Tupac Shakur's murder is speaking out from behind bars for the first time. Dwayne Keefe Davis insists he was 300 miles away when the rapper was shot. Now he's pointing the finger at someone else. Chief investigative correspondent Erica Tursky has this ABC News exclusive.
The death of rap legend Tupac Shakur nearly 30 years ago became one of the nation's most notorious unsolved murders.
Hey, Keith, Metro Police, come over here.
Then in 2023, a breakthrough when prosecutors charged this man with ordering the hit. The only person arrested for Shakur's murder now tells ABC News authorities have the wrong man.
I'm innocent. I ain't killed nobody, never did, ever kill nobody. They don't have no evidence against me. Came and put me in Las Vegas.
61-year-old Dwayne Keefe Davis says the night of the murder, September 7th, 1996, he was in Las Vegas, 300 miles from the Las Vegas intersection where Tupac Shakur was gunned down.
Prove that I orchestrated this. You said, your key witness orchestrated this. They top witness is the lead suspect.
The defense pointing to someone else, Reggie Wright Jr., a former cop and security guard for record mogul Suge Knight, who was driving the car Tupac was in the night he was shot. Wright has denied any involvement and has said it bothers me because I was in charge of possibly protecting this young man. And prosecutors say Davis incriminated himself in his 2019 memoir, Compton Street Legend. And in this on-camera interview,
he said the shots came from the back. Who shot Tupac?
Keep from the corner of the streets. It just came from the back seat, bro.
Davis now says his previous admissions connected with the shooting were made under duress and for money, claiming he did not write his own memoir and was fed information by police.
I shouldn't have said nothing. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have said nothing. And I'm innocent, man.
Prosecutors declined to respond directly to Davis's new claims. They say their case is strong and they expect a conviction. Tupac Shakur is one of the best-selling rap artists of all time. 75 million albums to date. Most of those sales posthumously, thanks in part to hits like California Love. Davis's arrest followed years of fan-driven theories that an intense rivalry between East Coast and West Coast rappers sparked a fatal attack on Shakur.
Being held against my will, supposed to be out there enjoying my twilight. God got my back, and God will see me through this.
The judge has not yet weighed the defense's claim of a different suspect, and right now Diane Davis is scheduled for trial in February. Diane?
Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Kaczynski, thank you.
Yeah, y'all heard my boy. Why they do Keefe D like that? After all this time, him running around on different platforms, bragging about how he was in the car, how his nephew grabbed the gun and shot Tupac, how he was looking at Suge, how he would have shot if he was on the driver's seat. Then for him to get arrested and switch his whole story, say that he lied and the main suspect, which is another unusual suspect that we're going to get into, but he lied and said another suspect had something to do with orchestrating the murder. He wasn't even in Las Vegas. After running around telling all these stories for all these years, we have their main suspect recanting on all those interviews that he did. It's just really unusual that now, after all this time, he's trying to say he's innocent after putting Tupac Shakur's mom through that while she was alive. Because she was still alive while he was telling some of those stories, you know, about what him, Orlando Anderson, T. Brown, and, you know, Andre did to Tupac that night in Vegas. You know, we're going to follow this case real close with a magnifying glass, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. Until then, it's your boy Chef Disaster 3.0. Smash that like button. Peace and love, spread love, not hate. I'm out. The Unusual Suspects, the series.
I was raised by thugs, school block killers. Learned my mathematics skills from real drug dealers. Tried to rise, but they tried me. I guess they all had to die, cause we tried.